The field was nice and slick from the rain in the first half. If you look back, I think for 65 minutes, we played to our game plan and we played it correctly, and it showed in our 3-1 lead. I think we just had a few defensive breakdowns that resulted in goals, to be honest. That's what it came down to.
What does that kind of do for the mentality now? Because heading into this game on Sunday, in the position that depending what happens between Chicago and San Jose, anything but a win might not be good enough to take you through.
Yeah, we know how important this game is. We know that we ultimately need 3 points to stay alive. We don't want to dwell on the game. We want to learn from our mistakes, but we don't want to look back and, be upset, be mad at ourselves. We need to learn from those mistakes that we made and also look at all the good things that we did do. The pressure we had on that third goal was great. The second goal, the counterattack, it's all of these things that we did throughout training the week before, that got us to that point. So we just need to make sure that we look at the positives, learn from our mistakes.
Thanks, Michael. JJ?
Hey, Jake, good to see you. My question is this, coming into the tournament, all the pundits really didn't give you guys much of a chance. And now that you guys are so short-handed, what is your mentality? How do you guys approach this game on Sunday against Seattle? Just what is the mindset that you guys have to have in this game?
Yeah, the mindset is that we have to have this mentality where we know that, the MLS, the analysts, they don't necessarily think that we have a chance, but we need to believe in ourselves. We need to make sure that we're together as a group, to prove that these people that they're wrong. And we know that how good we can be at certain times, like we've showed in the first game. I think that we need to really stick together. Obviously, we are missing a few key pieces, a few, good leaders in the team, Toss and Andy. But we've had other guys that stepped up so far, and we just need to keep on stepping up.
Excellent. Thanks, Jake.
Yep.
Go ahead, Neil.
Thank you. Hi, Jake. I know you're concerned about what your team does and its preparations, but what are you expecting from Seattle with only one game left and 1 point? They're desperate for points as well.
Yeah, watching their first 2 games, we know that they struggled a bit. It's not the Seattle that everybody knows. They are the MLS reigning champions, so we know that they do have the players to compete really well and to have good games. But right now we need to look at their weaknesses. We need to really focus on our game plan and how we're going to attack them and how we're going to make sure that we can get 3 points.
Thanks, Neil. JJ?
Hey, Jake, me again. Can you tell me what the game plan was going into San Jose? Just because I can't imagine that having 30% of the ball was sort of what you guys had planned, but what was the strategy going into that game?
Yeah, I don't think we planned on having that low of possession, but we knew that we weren't going to be, on the ball the entire game. We knew that we weren't going to necessarily control the game in possession-wise. But we knew that they play a very different style of game with the 1v1s all around the field. And we just tried to exploit that the best we can. And I think we showed that, in our first goal with Ali, when he's in a 1v1 situation, if he beats his guy, he's going to have a good shot on goal. And that's how we scored the first goal. And the second goal as well, we know that, that they're going to bring a lot of guys up on corner kicks. And we ultimately, punish them for it on the counterattack. So we were just looking for our moments to really attack 1v1 very quick. We didn't want to, sit on the ball too much. We wanted to get a ball in, out, and then over the top just to, get them running on their back, on their heels.
And once you guys got those leads, like 2-0 and 3-1, what was the directive from that point on? It looked like you guys were playing in a very compact and low block.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily want that to happen. I think that's just kind of what happens sometimes during games when you take a lead. You ultimately try to, not score again and try to hold off. I think that we needed to still, push more, attack more, and exploit their, their defense. But unfortunately, we weren't able to, really hold them off on their set pieces. We gave up a lot of corners, which we were fine with, as long as we defended well, and we had, 2 mistakes on those.
And last question here, just I think over the last 3 games against the Quakes, they've gotten something like over 100 shots. What is it about that team that seems to give them so much offensive possession and attacking mentality against you guys?
Yeah, going into the game, we knew that they were going to take a lot of shots, and we were fine with that. Most of their shots were coming from outside the 18, and most of them were blocked. So we weren't really concerned with that. We were just concerned with them playing through us, playing, behind us, which I don't think that they really did at all, throughout the entire game. So we were fine with giving up shots, and we had, the trust in Max to make the saves and our trust in our back four to, make blocks. And that's what we did ultimately. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Jake.
Yep.
Hey, Jake, thanks for talking today. Going back to this Seattle matchup, obviously always a lot of rivalry implications with that. What are you expecting from that, just intensity-wise? And is there kind of an added element to it with a chance to knock your rivals out?
Yeah, there's always an added element when it's a rivalry game. And, considering that we're in a group stage with them as well, it's going to, keep on adding to that. And I think that it's a great opportunity for us to get 3 points, to, push ourselves up in the group. And if we can, knock them out while we're at it, hey, that's great.
Great. Thank you, Jake. Have a good day. Best of luck on Sunday.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Hey, David, great to see you. Okay, I think you're muted there. There we go.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Okay, we'll get right to it. Go ahead, JJ.
There we go. Hi, Mr. Milinkovic. My question is, what positives are you going to take from the game against San Jose into Seattle on Sunday? Because it is such an important game. What do you think you guys did well on Wednesday night that will translate to this next game?
I think the more positive of the game is to score 3 goals and play very well for 70 minutes. And after, I don't know what's happened the last 20 minutes. Maybe the concentration of the team is a little bit going down, but I'm proud of this team because when you play and you miss 6 big players on the team, and it's not easy to play. And I play very well this team in the first half. You score two goals in the first half, and after you have 3-1 on the score, you have just to take the score to play a little bit better, to take the time. Maybe when you have one foul, to stay more down, to talk with the referee, to take more experience from there. But I'm so disappointed for this game because I lost 4-3, and it's not normal. But this happened. Is the football. For me now, it's important to play good on Sunday because Sunday is not one game; it's the final for me, for the team. And I don't know. The more positive of this game is to score 3 goals and play very well for 70-75 minutes. And after the Cosetis goal is not normal, but now you have just to working hard for be ready for the Sunday, because Sunday is the final. Because if you win against Seattle, you have possibility to go in the quarterfinal, and it's just to stay positive now on the training and to be prepared for this game on the best level, in the best level for the game.
Can you take me through that third goal? Did you expect Daniel Vega to make that pass that just seemed to be going into empty space?
Yeah, because I run too much, and I wait every time the ball, and when I have opportunity to go, I go subitly. It's in the you know.
Cool. Thanks, David.
No problem.
Go ahead, Har.
Hi, David. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. It's not going to be a typical rivalry match with Seattle. There's no fans. It's not up here in the Northwest, but it is your first Cascadia matchup against Seattle. So just your overall thoughts and maybe your excitement on playing and being part of this big rivalry. I know you said it's a really important match, but it's also your first match in the Derby. So just your overall thoughts on a big rivalry. I know you've played in a lot of rivalries throughout your career. Merci.
Yeah, no, it's a big game. Yes, it's a little bit hard to play without the fan, because I need the fan. In the football, we don't have the fan. It's not the same. It's not the same game, but you need to play for your fan, because now is the important case from COVID in the world, and it's important to stay care at home. And now is the derby. It's a very good game for the team, and it's a derby. I hope to win this game, because the game is so important for me, for my team, for the club. And I hope to play well on Sunday and take the 3 points for my team. And it's not for me. It's not important to play well, to have possession on the game, to play good football. It's just important to take 3 points. Maybe you go back everyone, and when you have opportunity to score, you score. And when you score, to defend better of the first game, because it's important to play in the best level, not for 75 minutes, in the 90 minutes, to be concentrated, and the corner, everything is important. And I hope to play well, and if I have an advantage to score the first goal, and after to play better on the defense, for take the 3 points for the club.
Thanks, Har. Michael, go ahead.
Hi, David.
Hi.
Heading into Sunday's game, depending what happens in the match before, if Chicago beats San Jose, then any defeat is going to knock it out of the competition after just 2 games. Has that been talked about as like a motivational factor? And What would it mean to have gone all that way and then 2 games and that's it, basically done?
I don't know. For now, you have these 3 games to play, and I hope to win against Seattle because I don't know. It is a very important game because if you win this game, you are probably in the quarterfinal, and it's important for the club. And if you win this game, for me, you are 80% in the qualify. But I don't know what is happening after this tournament because you see the COVID now is very hard in the USA, in France, in the world, and it's important just to play this tournament now. And I hope to win the game for playing the competition. And now it's important just game at game. Every game is important now.
Just the conditions. Jake said it wasn't actually too bad for your match a couple of days ago. Have you ever played in any conditions like this, and how have you found it all so far?
It's the first time playing this condition because you play with not fun. It's difficult, and it's very different approach of the game. But it's the same for every player, and I'm positive in my team because when you see, I don't like to talk for any team, but when you see Montreal, when you see Galaxies play with full team, you lose the game, and in my team you miss 6 players, and you play very well for 75 minutes. I'm so proud of this team. And maybe if you are more concentrated in the last 15 minutes, you take 3 points for the club. But now you lose the first game. It is hard for me, for the club. And now you have just to work, and I hope really to win this game because it's very, very important for me, for the club, for the future, for my future. Because I don't know what is happening after this tournament. If you play more in the league, what is happened? Because I don't know. For this game against Seattle, for me is one final. Because maybe after this tournament, the league is finished. I don't know what is happening after this tournament. And for this, you have to be ready at 200%. And for me, it's not important to play well. It's important just to win. And this is the more important for me and the club.
Talking about your future then, obviously you're on loan from Hull City. I just have to ask you what you thought of that result the other day. Ever been involved in a match where a team's given up 8 goals?
Yeah. From Hull City. I see the situation of Hull City. I hope to stay, but it's at me to play well and after maybe to talk with the club for staying in the club. But it's at me to play in my best level in the field for stay to Vancouver.
Thanks, Michael. We'll take one more with Neil Davidson.
Thank you. David, with no fans, when we watch the games on television, we can hear the coaches yelling on the sidelines very clearly. Can you hear them on the field when you're playing? And if so, is it a help or a distraction having a coach yell at you?
Yeah, it's difficult to play without the fan, but yes, when the coach give you instruction, you listen better because you don't have the fan. But when you play with the fan, it's not the same. It's much better. But now, this situation is very hard and. It's not easy to play out the fan, but it's the same for every team. And I hope everything is coming back soon better. And I hope to see the fan soon in the stadium because you need the fan. When you play football and you don't have the fan, it's not the same, really. You have the motivation, but when you don't have the fan, it's not the same. The football without the fan is very difficult.
Great. Thanks, David, for your time. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
See you on Sunday.
Thank you. Bye.
Good to see you. Okay, we'll get started right now. And first questions to JJ.
Hello, Mark. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, JJ, or not. I see your name, please.
Yes. My first question is this: the lack of depth you cited quite a bit after the game on Wednesday night. So my question is, what is the status of Leo Owusu, and how does that affect your team's depth going into a very critical game?
Yeah, I wanna let's do this. Let's talk about the lack of depth now, and then not talk about it anymore ever until the end of the tournament, because it's there. It's a fact. When you going back to the game, when they made the 4 substitutions, and Danny Hoesen, Wando, that is a player with a lot of goals in this league, Salinas, and Ferio, that is an important player, a TAM player that was with Matias Almeida in another club. You have those 4 coming in and scoring 2 goals, and some of them were internationals for their country. So, of course, that was a strong move in the game that hurt us. When we 3 weeks, I would say, before coming to the tournament, I had spoken about the depth, and I felt so comfortable about it. Imagine in the last game if we would have had Cava, Ricketts, Andy, Freddie, Bickle, Godoy all on the bench. Probably they won't be on the bench, but just put that picture. Then you could answer in a different type of way. So, of course, it's a struggle, but what I have to do right now is to really maximize the guys that are here and make them play to the best of their ability, and find a way that tactically it's very simple what's required, because we don't have time to work. I'll give you an example. We played the game, then the next day it was full recovery. It was very hard to go through those 100 minutes of game. Today they're still recovering, so we're training, but we're still very careful with training, so we could activate them tomorrow in training to go to be as fresh as possible, and then we're going to repeat that. So tactically it's very hard to work and improve on things in training. You have to use a lot the video. So we go about with the lack of depth is really recovering the players to the best of their ability, to make sure that we go through tactical stuff using video and try to maximize the guys that we have here.
So what is the status of Mr. Owusu and Eric Godoy?
Eric is not going to be available against Seattle. He's still day by day, but right now he's not going to be available against Seattle. And Leo, we're still evaluating to see how close can he get to the game against Seattle. Leo is still a possibility, but again, day by day.
And last question here before I cede the floor. You mentioned that you want to have the right environment to get the youth in the right situation to play those youth players like Simon Coline, Michael Baldissimo, Patrick Metcalf. What does that situation look like in your eyes?
It looks like in games that are a little bit more in control. And what I say by that is that tactically the approach of the game, you're able to do moves that you feel they could be in and succeed in their actions. This last game was incredibly chaotic by what was happening tactically in the game. And, you know, look at a kid like Patrick Metcalf. If you guys see in training, he tackles, he fouls, he's aggressive, he does things that are very intentional in a good way. And I think in this play with Salinas, he could have fouled Salinas before he made the run into our box. So little things like that they have to learn and grow and become better to help impact the game. And they have to be good enough to do it. You know, that's the thing too. It's when you guys talk about a name, it's you just talk about the name based because he signed the contract, and you don't watch enough training. You're not with the player every day to see if he deserves to be on the field or not. And unfortunately, that's a little bit, I call it a little bit immaturity. We all have to do a better job at that. I said that before. Sorry for my honesty. It's a little bit immature to just talk a name of our academy and say, how come he doesn't play? How come he doesn't get minutes? But based on very little knowledge that you guys may have about the player. Yeah, that's just me being honest. Sorry.
Excellent. I appreciate your candor, Marc.
Thanks, JJ.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Mark. Just got a couple of questions for you. You've obviously had time to watch the game tape now from Wednesday's match. I asked Jake where he felt it had gone wrong, and he said it wasn't the conditions, it was just defensive breakdowns, which is obviously was very evident. When you look especially at, say, the goal where there's two guys unmarked in the 6-yard box, how do you solve that in such a short period of time to make sure the players are switched on more?
No, it's a great point. You know, number one, Michael, we conceded 22 corner kicks. So we speak more about the 2 goals that we conceded, but we had to defend 20 well. So that's also a fact. You know, 20 of them, we were able to defend them well. And then the other 2 were very disappointing, and we're addressing it. Today, we have a video session where that's going to be addressed. And tomorrow we're readjusting a couple of things on how we defend on corner kicks that hopefully is gonna help. But the number one thing, it's all related, Michael. I'll give you an example. Every time our team defends far from our box, we concede less shots, we concede less corner kicks, we concede less opportunities. And that's always related. When we go back, our reference, because of the pandemic, our references in the games we use to get numbers and to evaluate our 3 games at the tournament of Portland, our game against Kansas City, our game against LA Galaxy, and our game against San Jose. Those are the 6 games that give us kind of a platform to evaluate things in the team. Every time we won the games, every time we were better than the opponent, that was a direct relationship of how well we pressed up top. So now when you press well up, the opponent has more trouble to get in behind you. He has more trouble to get close to your box, less corner kicks. So one of the things that has to be addressed also is the pressure from the front, that I feel it was better in the second half. And this is why we created more chances in the second half also. And we were able to be closer to their goals. So it's always related. But then once they have the corner kick, for sure that there's things that are very, very disappointed. The goal of Rios, he doesn't even move. You know, Rios doesn't even move. Then Alanis jumps with Kimiri, where a ball that Kimiri wins every day usually. And he knows that, and he has to attack that ball better. So we're addressing some things on the setup, but we also on the setup of defending a corner kick, but we also addressing that for us not to concede as much, we have to do a better job and be more courageous when we press. And the great example is the quality of our pressure in the 3rd goal. Very well done. Players were high, right position. David recovers the ball and we score. So that's a very good example of what we want to be about.
I've got a question about the Seattle game, but just before that, I know you won't want to use this as an excuse, but it did look like Houston was offside on Wando's goal.
He was.
He
For
was,
me,
yeah.
There's two things that was clear mistakes from the referee. In their third goal, in their second goal, Hussein is offside. And VAR checks it and says no because of their angle, but we disagree. It's offside. And the other goal, the other situation is at minute 55, Espinoza throws the ball into Ali Zed. And for me, it's a straight red card. And this is why VAR called the referee. Marcos Oliveira got called to check. It's because VAR also probably thought maybe this is a red card. And there the referee has to have the courage of doing what is right. You can't throw a ball into a player's face. I didn't speak about that after the game because I haven't seen the plays. But today I rewatched the game. I worked on the game with the staff. We prepared everything for the meeting tonight. And for us, it's a straight red card. Unfortunately, you know, it continues little things like that that have to be better, you know.
Heading into Sunday, it's a weird situation because if Chicago beat San Jose, that means a loss and you're basically out of the tournament by that point.
Yes.
It's obviously hard to then go into a game not to lose, but is that maybe going to affect the tactics a little bit if you know that at least a draw keeps you alive?
We have to go to the game to win the game. You know, right now, we feel as a team, we went through a lot of hard moments to get here. I said that before. I think after Nashville and Dallas, we're the team that suffered the most with COVID, but we're here and we're here fighting and we're here being committed in the games and giving our best in the games. So we have nothing to lose. I don't know why we can't play Seattle being afraid of losing, and it's not the mentality that I want to bring to this team. We scored in our first 3 MLS games this year, we scored 5 goals. So it shows that we're a team that wants to go forward. We want to be offensive minded. We want to be in the opponent's face, so we can't be this team that backs off and is afraid, because actually the time that we suffered more against San Jose was that period when we were backed off close to our box and being afraid, and we can't be that. So we have nothing to lose. We need to play Seattle with the objective of the 3 points, regardless what happens in the Chicago game.
Okay, we'll go to Neil Davidson next, and then we'll finish up with JJ.
Thank you. Mark, thank you for taking the time. I'm wondering, at this tournament, with no fans and no crowd noise to block out your instructions from the sideline, are you finding it a different experience? Are you able to give suggestions, directions to the players that gets listened to and followed? Is it a different experience in that way for you?
Yeah, on that side, Neil, it's different because there's 2 situations that we wanted to pass a message to the players, but we couldn't because I had to yell it in a way that everybody would understand. So then what I did is I yelled it in French because to David, and I said, David, can you pass this message? But with the action of all the game, David wasn't able to pass it with all the detail that I wanted. The reason I went in French with David was because I know the majority of the players in San Jose and their staff, and I don't think it's a language that they speak a lot over there, you know. But it's a challenge. That part you have to hide. It's almost if I have to write a note on a paper, give it to a player's hand to read it after, you know, and I think I'm gonna have to go to that route sometimes. But emotionally, it doesn't change for me. For me as a person and as a coach, I honestly, when the ref whistles the beginning of the game, having 0 or 80,000 people, for me and my work and my coaching, and it doesn't make a difference. To pass information, it's a huge difference. Yes.
Okay, go ahead, JJ.
Hey, Mark, both you and Jake had mentioned how you didn't like the fact you were defending so deep and your block was so low. My question is, who determines that on the field? Who is setting that line defensively?
The two forwards, or the
two
three
forwards?
forwards in the last game.
Okay, so that would have been Jordy, David, and Christian Dahomey.
So what was happening was that their fullbacks were getting very high in the attack, and then we had to play accordingly to the ball if we had to stay high, and that means that when their two center backs open up and the defensive midfielder drops, it's almost 3v3 in the first line of pressure. So we don't need to be concerned with the fullbacks going high because they're gonna arrive in the zone. Let's say we're talking on the left side, on the zone of Russell and Ali. But our wingers had the tendency of being very concerned with the movement of their fullbacks, so they would be almost marking them man to man. That makes them drop a lot. And it looked, instead of looking like a 4-3-3, it looked like a 4-5-1. And then it isolates Jordi Reyna, that is our only target to come out. And if you look at that in the first, especially 25 minutes, you're going to see us being a low block in a 4-5-1. Why did it become better in the second half? It's because the three forwards did a better job dealing with the wide options, being the center back and putting pressure on the center back. And then it's always, everything is related. Because of that, you're higher on the field, you could win balls higher on the field, and you could create more goal scoring opportunities.
Excellent. Thanks
You
for the
you could watch, JJ, if you watch with what I told you now and you rewatch the first 20 minutes of each half, you're gonna understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot more sense. I remember from the game seeing you guys drop like that, and seeing Jordy isolated was it looked like you were playing for the tie when that I don't think was your intent.
Never. I don't want the Whitecaps to be about that. I want us to be a team that scores, that goals, that I don't want us to be about that. So when that happens, it happens not by design, but sometimes the game's is gonna pull you back. But I don't want that. You know, there's, again, I said it, the positive is that I feel we could create goal scoring opportunities in every game. We scored 3 goals without a natural number 9. But we're conceding too many goals, and that is due, for me, lack of work, in the sense that it's very hard to work. Also, very young center backs that have an incredible potential, but they need to learn with mistakes even, and I know they're gonna be better in the next game. And also lack of having the same guys on the field. That's been the most frustrating part, is that teams that succeed are able to have a run with the same type of core. And we were going in that direction before COVID. That's the disappointing part.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Mark.
Thanks.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.